Hello everyone, today I have a new video. This time it's a deck profile for another game, Weiss Schwarz. I believe, well actually I know, it's also made by the same people who do Vanguard and Buddy Fight. Once again, rest in peace Buddy Fight. Anyway, Weiss Schwarz is an actually interesting game. It mainly focuses on other animes and other stuff. It's not its own thing, it's really interesting, actually. And, well, that right there is the anime this deck focuses on. And, well, my deck is a little bit different. It focuses on a specific character. Specifically, my favorite. Origami. She is one of the characters from the show. It's honestly a really fun show. It's definitely more for teenagers and up, but so yeah, if you're a bit younger, maybe go and watch some of my other videos instead of this one. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough, so let's just get started. Okay. Now, since I've never actually had the chance to use this deck or really play the game properly, I will probably have a bit of difficulty discussing the cards. So we'll be playing 4 copies of this version of Origami. It's the main card of the deck. It's basically what you want to end up with. I mean, every card in here features her in some way or has really anything to do with her. A little interesting thing about this deck. This set, in Weiss Schwarz, you're actually not really supposed to make a deck based on one specific character. You're supposed to mix them up and use all the characters from the show, from said show or said thing that's the focus of the set. However, something special about this. Origami was actually created, well, her one specific trait, AST, which is Assault Team or something like that, Attack Spirit Team, I don't know. They never really went into detail, if I remember correctly, in the show. But the trait, AST, it was specifically created to be a budget option for the set. So, technically, you could make a actual decent competitive build focused completely on Origami. Meanwhile, with the other characters on the box, such as Kotri or Toka or anyone else really, you couldn't really do that because you're supposed to mix cards together. Really, the only other character in the set where you could do that is Kurumi. However, she is the most popular character in the show, so her cards are really expensive. However, Origami was specifically created to be the budget option for the set. So, really, it turned out pretty good for me. Anyway, onto this card. So, I'll just take this up. During this card's battle, your opponent cannot play backup from their hand. Now, backup, I believe that is ways to boost the opponent's options. And then its next effect. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 card from among them and put it into your hand and put the rest into your waiting room. Waiting room is essentially the trash/graveyard slash drop zone of this game. And a climax combo. When this card attacks, if Revenge from 5 years ago is in your climax area and you have 4 or more Date or Celestial Spirit trait characters, this card gets 1000 power until the end of turn. Put the bottom 4 cards of your opponent's deck into their waiting room and deal 1 damage to your opponent times the number of climax from among the cards. Interesting. Now, this game is definitely a lot different from the other ones I've played. However, it is fun. And again, the traits, Date and Celestial Spirit. However, Origami doesn't have that. However, she does have the Date trait. So everything still works. Next up is 2 copies of this Origami. Battle Stance Origami. We're only playing 2 copies. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a level 0 or lower, put it into your stock. And then its next effect, put 1 card from your hand into your waiting room, and when this card is placed on stage from your hand, you may pay the cost, and if you do, search your deck for up to 1 event card, reveal it to your opponent, and put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Then its third effect, choose one of your Date or Celestial Spirit characters, and that character gets plus 15 until the end of turn. Interesting and event. I believe we'll eventually get to them eventually. Next up, this card came in the trial deck, and it is Confrontation with Spirits Origami. When this card is placed on your stage from your hand, you may put the top card of your clock into the waiting room. Clock is, again, I believe, I don't remember what it is. I think it's health or something you use to pay cost, although they're both kind of the same thing if I remember correctly. If anyone actually properly plays Weiss Schwarz way more than me, please feel free to correct me. Anyway, and its next effect is, sorry about that. Next effect is put 2 cards from your hand into your waiting room. This card attacks if you have 2 or more the same trait as before. Characters, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose 1 cost 1 or lower character in your opponent's backstage and put it on the bottom of your deck. Interesting. And next up is the event card. Now, this was the event specifically created for the Origami deck. There is another event in this set that was more created for the spirits. However, this one is a bit different. Perform the following action 3 times, which is pretty interesting. Choose one of your characters, and that character gets their following ability until end of turn. The character facing this card gets -1 soul. Put this card into your memory, and then you can use it again and again. Or at least 3 times. It's interesting. Next 2 cards. Now, if you've noticed, we're actually playing a lot of 2-ofs and all that in this deck. Well, that's because in Weiss Schwarz, you can kind of get away with it, as you're supposed to cycle through your deck several times and then reshuffle it. It's really interesting. Okay. When this card attacks, if the character facing this card is 3 or higher, this card gets +6 K power until the end of turn. Awesome. When this card attacks, you may pay the cost, and if you do, during that attack, you perform a trigger check twice on the trigger step. Much like Vanguard, there's some cards that do trigger checks and all that. Although it doesn't really specify what the cost is. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. Next, we have this card. Unexpected Meeting in Town Origami. Let's see. When this card attacks, choose one of your same traits as before characters, and that character gets +X power until the end of turn. X is equal to the number of event cards in your waiting room times 15. Awesome. When this card becomes Rest, I believe, if the level of this card's battle opponent is higher than your opponent's level, you may put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room. If you do, put that character into your opponent's clock. Not really sure what this card does. Again, fortunately, I'm not too familiar with the terms in this game because I have never really been able to play it properly. I've only played it once. And thanks to the pandemic, I can't really try. And also thanks to where I am, no one really plays the game. It really sucks, unfortunately. Next card we've got is Returning to School Origami. Another card we have four copies of. This one. If all your characters are the same trait as specified before, this card gets +2. And then Climax Combo, when this card battles opponents, when this card's battle opponent becomes rest, if Apology from a Super Genius is in your Climax area, choose up to one level 0 a lower character in your waiting room and put it into stock. Stock is the paying cost stuff, okay. And I believe Clock is your health. And reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a level 1 or higher, put it into your hand. Interesting. Again, you want to play as many copies of Climax Combo cards as possible. And this deck has the level 1 and the level 2. And next up, we have 4 copies of this version of Origami. The swimsuit one. Let's see what she does. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is same as before, or Basic Realizer, which was the event we saw earlier. All characters in your opponent's stage get -500 until the end of turn. Interesting. When this card attacks, choose one of your specified before characters. And that character gets plus X power until the end of turn. X is equal to the number of same characters as before you have times 500. Interesting. And then the next, which is another 2 of long-range shot origami. At the beginning of your climax phase, choose one of your same as before, and that character gets +3 until the end of turn. Put one basic realizer from your hand into the waiting room and rest to this card. Choose one of the following effects and perform it. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Choose one card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in your waiting room. And then its other choice, choose one of your opponent's level 3 or lower cards. That character cannot stand until your opponent's next stand phase. And again, another good interruption option. We have another 2 of in the deck. Strange Conversation Origami. Okay. This card gets +500 for each of your specified characters as before, and then Encore, put the top card of your deck into your clock. Okay. Again, not too familiar on what Encore is, unfortunately. And then this is another 4 of the deck. It's really important. Abrupt Greeting Origami. This is the Brainstormer of the deck. I at least know what Brainstormer term is. So, and I know that they're good. At the beginning of your main phase, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. And then Brainstorm. Rest this card. Flip over 4 cards from the top of your deck and put them into your waiting room. For each climax revealed among them, draw up to 1 card. Interesting. And then next up is the most expensive card in this deck, and really the only expensive card in Origami, Mysterious Classmate Origami. When a climax is placed in your opponent's climax area, you may put this card into your stock. When this card becomes rest, if this card's battle opponent is level 0 or lower, you want to put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room, and if you do, put that character into your opponent's clock, which is kind of a redundant way of wording it. I don't know, honestly, a lot of redundancy things in this game, it seems. Next up, we have this card, Gathering Information Origami. Let's see what it does. If all your characters are the same as before, it gets +1. Put the top card of your stock into your clock. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose one card from your clock, return to your hand, and put the top card of your deck in its place. Kind of recycle. Oh boy. kind of recycling and all that. Next we have this one. Out of the Bath Origami. When your climax is placed in your climax area, choose up to 2 cards from your character. Choose up to 2 of your characters, and those characters get plus 500 until the end of turn. Rest this card. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 level 1 or higher card from among them. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. It's a good search card. This one, another 2 of. Happy Incoming Message Origami. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may reveal your hand, and if you do, if there's a climax among those cards, all characters your opponent's centers get minus 500 until the end of turn. Then put 1 climax from your hand into your waiting room. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose 1 climax in your waiting room and return it to your hand. Okay. And then the last character in this deck is actually the promo card, which I was very happy to get. Meeting Up for a Date Origami. This one is, again, the promo card, so I was very happy to get it. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck and put them on the top of their deck in their original order. Okay, and when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, if your opponent has 1 or less characters in their center stage, choose 1 cost 0 or lower character in your opponent's center stage and put it at the bottom of their deck. Interesting. Next up, we have 4 copies of this. Revenge from 5 years ago. This is one of the climaxes in the deck. All of your characters get plus 1 in power and 1 soul until the end of turn. Or wait, no. For the attack. Alright, that's the first climax of the deck. And the next one, Apology from the Super Genius. When this card is placed on your climax area from your hand, choose up to 1 level 1 or lower character in your waiting room, put it into your stock, and all your characters get plus 1 soul until the end of turn. Very interesting. Anyway, I probably did a terrible job of explaining this, but again, I'm unfortunately not too familiar with the game. Hopefully, when COVID clears all up, I'll be able to play the game, and maybe if I can get some people in the area interested in the game, who knows. Anyway, this has been my deck profile for my favorite character from Day to Life, Origami. Now we might do a video for my second favorite. We'll do one on Coterie next. And that will probably save for the weekend. Goodbye.